Xiaomi and OnePlus share quite a lot in common. Both are from the same country, China. They're both relatively new to the smartphone scene. They have similar marketing strategies, selling close to cost and in turn generating a lot of interest. And they also have to deal with the same issues, overcoming the general public perception of cheap Chinese quality, matching supply with an overwhelming demand from an ever-growing rabid fan base. There are a lot of similarities here. Another being that both Xiaomi and OnePlus have their respective flagships for 2014 in the market right now. So naturally, a lot of you were curious to know how they stack up against each other. And who am I to refuse your wish, my command and all. So without further ado, if this is your first time here, or even if you do, remember I'm gonna say it anyway. My name's Ash, this is C4E Tech, and you're watching my comparison of the OnePlus One with the Xiaomi Mi4. Well, specs and numbers are great, and we will get to that a little later in this video. The look and feel of a device goes a long way towards creating an impression. So let's start with that. Again, we have quite a few similarities here. Both have plastic backs with swappable covers being sold separately. Both are reinforced by metal on the inside. While the Mi4 sports a metal frame, the OnePlus One is mostly plastic on the outside, but that helps keep the weight down to just about 162 grams. And while that's still heavier than the Mi4, the fact that this extra weight is being spread over a larger surface area means you're not gonna really notice a difference. And while both phones are equally thick at 8.9mm, the One does feel slimmer thanks to its curved back. The One also gives you the option of choosing between on-screen and capacitive keys, but this option comes at a cost. The cost being bigger bezels. And that is one area where the Mi4 shines. It's got insanely thin bezels. So with both phones creating blurs and no obvious signs of corners being cut, it all boils down to what's more important to you. Ease of single-handed usage or a bigger display with the option of choosing between on-screen and capacitive keys. So I'm gonna call this one a tie and leave you guys to decide here. And now, as promised, we get to the specs and surprise surprise, more similarities. Both phones are powered by the same Snapdragon 801 chipset, 4 great 400 cores clocked at 2.5 GHz each, coupled with an overclocked Adreno 330 GPU and 3 gigs of RAM. Both have 16 and 64 gig variants available, and sadly both lack support for memory expansion via microSD. As evident by the synthetic benchmark results here, they are very evenly matched, so we've had to delve a little deeper into the not as important aspect of the spec sheet. And the One takes the lead here since it supports NFC and a third microphone while lacking only the IR blaster found on the Mi4. Next we move on to audio quality, and here we have a clear winner. While the audio quality via the headphones were similarly good, the Mi4 single speakers were just not able to match the levels output by the OnePlus One's bottom-facing dual speaker setup. Now moving on to the display, the OnePlus One sports a 5.5-inch Full HD Japan display made LTPS display. On the other hand, the Mi4 sports a 5-inch Full HD display sourced from, yep, you guessed it right, Japan Display and Sharp. For protection, the One utilizes Gorilla Glass 3 and the Mi4 Concord Glass, both from the same manufacturer, Corning. But the similarities end here. The Mi4 has the better display. The blacks are deeper, resulting in better contrast. The screen's a little brighter, meaning sunlight visibility is better. Don't get me wrong here, the One does have a perfectly capable display that's sharp, offers great viewing angles, is bright enough to use under direct sunlight actually. It's just that the Mi4 does all these and does them better. So with that, the Mi4 opens account, but the One's still in the lead 2-1. Next up, we get to battery life. Both phones support non-user replaceable batteries, 3080 mAh on the Mi4 and 20 mAh more on the One. On paper, it seems like an easy win for the Mi4 since the battery capacities are almost the same and the One does sport a larger display. But in reality, it's the other way around. On our looping video playback tests, the Mi4 lasted a respectable 8 hours, but the OnePlus One lasted a whopping 11 hours. In other words, with moderate usage, my Mi4 gets me through a day with 20 to 30% juice left, but the OnePlus lasts almost 2. And with that, the One extends its lead, scores 3-1. Next up, we get to the cameras. Both phones sport 13 megapixel rear cameras from Sony, the same IMX214 sensor with a 6-element lens, f2.0 aperture on the One and f1.8 on the Mi4. The wider aperture on the Mi4 results in a more prominent bokeh effect, especially when it comes to macro shots. Bokeh is the blurring of the out-of-focus parts of a picture. Barring that, both cameras are capable of shooting equally good pictures, sharp with tons of detail. While pictures shot with the Mi4 tend to be a little more vivid, the color reproduction is a lot more natural on the OnePlus One. It's worth noting that the Mi4 does offer better autofocus and shutter speeds though. When it comes to the user interfaces, both seem to be equally functional, giving you loads of options but staying out of your way for the most part. Moving on to the front-facing cameras, the 8-megapixel front-facing shooter on the Mi4 outperforms its 5-megapixel counterpart on the OnePlus One. Though the One hits back with the ability to shoot 4K DCI video, the Mi4 counters with better software stabilization for normal 4K video and takes the round, but still it's 3-2 in favor of the One. So now we move on to software. Both devices run on Android 4.4 KitKat with their respective custom UIs on top. Again, a lot of similarity here. Both CyanogenMod on the OnePlus One and MIUI on the Xiaomi Mi4 have long been custom ROMs of choice for a lot of users using devices from other manufacturers. The fact that they've been around for a long time means both ROMs are pretty stable. While CyanogenMod opts to retain the look and feel of stock Android and build features on top of it, MIUI chooses to throw out the playbook entirely. It doesn't even come with an app drawer. While both MIUI and CyanogenMod are very customizable, MIUI's customization options are a bit more organized and easier to access. When I compared the Mi3 with the OnePlus One, I said this. It's also worth noting that while MIUI has always been smooth, it's never felt rapid fast like stock Android. That doesn't apply anymore since MIUI V6, which is currently in beta, fixes that. Feels rapid fast while maintaining all the customization options that MIUI is known for. And before you can ask, I didn't use MIUI V6 in this video since it's still in beta, and using a beta software on a phone in a comparison wouldn't really be fair. Since as V6 is still in beta, it does have some optimization issues and is missing some features, especially in the camera app. So that being said, neither ROM's perfect, whether it's MIUI V5 or CyanogenMod 11s. They do have a few minor bugs. Say for example, MIUI's Themes app keeps reverting back to Chinese from time to time, and you'd have to clear the app data to get it back to English. And CyanogenMod still has an oversensitive tap-to-wake function that ends up turning on the music player and flashlight randomly. But like I said in my comparison of the Mi3 and the OnePlus One, these annoyances are more the exception rather than the norm, and most times a simple Google search would get you a fix or a workaround. When it comes to support, both Cyanogen and Xiaomi are equally good. They are constantly updating their respective ROMs, adding new features and fixing bugs. When it comes right down to it, both UIs are very functional and customizable, great ROMs on par with each other, but I'm gonna give this round to the OnePlus One. Why? Xiaomi takes a long time to release kernel sources. They still haven't released kernel sources for the Mi3. What that means is OnePlus gives you options. Hell, you could even run Xiaomi's own MIUI on the One. But with the Mi4, you're kind of locked in, at least for a year or more till they release the kernel sources. So with that, we now get to the price. And like I mentioned earlier, both OnePlus and Xiaomi have similar marketing strategies. They sell close to cost, create a lot of hype. Well, that's great. This strategy carries with it a risk of backfiring, because it ends up creating too much interest for newcomers like OnePlus and Xiaomi to handle, leaving a lot of prospective buyers dissatisfied without the device they want in hand. Officially, the OnePlus One is priced at $299 for the 16GB variant and $349 for the 64GB variant. The Mi4, on the other hand, is priced at $325 and $400 respectively. That's not a huge difference, but when you take into account the fact that Xiaomi has built its entire business out of undercutting rivals very aggressively, you get an idea of how big a deal it is for OnePlus to undercut Xiaomi. And that too with their very first device. Now, there have been rumors of OnePlus ending the invite system, letting anyone who wants to buy a One buy it. If they manage to pull that off, the One would blow any device away. Hats off to OnePlus. So what do we have here? In the One's corner, we've got battery life and by a very narrow margin specs, audio quality, software and price. In the other corner for the Mi4, we've got the display and cameras. So that's 5-2 in favor of the OnePlus One, with design left for you to choose based on your personal preference. Now it's worth noting that of the 7 rounds that we've had results in, 3 of them, software, specs and price, were decided by very narrow margins. The 4 rounds where we've had a clear winner, the honors were shared 2 each. What I'm really trying to say here is that yes, the OnePlus One is the better device, no doubt about it. But the final 5-2 scoreline does not really reflect on how close the Mi4 came to winning this. how evenly matched these two devices are. So if you were to choose the Mi 4 over the OnePlus One, you really wouldn't be losing a lot. Like for example, me personally, I use the Mi 4 and not the OnePlus One. Why? For the simple reason that I prefer a smaller form factor. So that's just me though. If you were to choose between these two devices today, what would you choose? And do you agree with the points that I've mentioned in this video? Let me know in the comments below. So anyway, if you do want to pick up either of these phones and can get them via the official channels, you'd have to pay a bit more and pick them up from a third-party reseller. I picked mine up from walmart.com. They sell genuine products, ship quick, and offer decent service. So if you were to go with a third-party reseller, I would suggest using walmart.com. I'll leave direct links in the description down below. Additionally, I'll also leave a discount code. Right now, at the time of shooting this video, the discount code C4ETech, and it's for $10 off. The value of the code and or the code itself might change in the future. If it does, I'll let you guys know via the description. So check that space before you order. Anyway, with that, I guess we get to the end of this comparison video. Hope you liked it. Hope you found it useful. If you did, please do give this video a thumbs up. And for more videos like this, do stay subscribed. If you do have any video requests for me, you can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. The direct links to all my social networks can be found down below in the description. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4ETech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.